Oh, good morning, good morning. Yeah, you see the time, 2:45, that's AM. And I woke up about quarter after 12 and could not get back to sleep. So I've already been to the gym and exercised for an hour. Anyway, the title of today's video is No More Statute of Limitations for Fraud in Florida. Really? Is it true that the statute of limitations for fraud has been abolished in Florida? If I understood him correctly, that's what my attorney said. I am not allowed to go back to the previous case and bring up agreements made there. Is Florida really that criminal that it would codify against filing for human rights violations and abuses? I can see it for some things after a bit of research, but not when a bank is trying to steal your home after making a previous agreement. Here's the PayPal link. I honestly don't even feel like making a video right now. I'm tired and I do want to go back to sleep. However, I did meet with my attorney yesterday, and I still haven't found the most important document of all, which is the affidavit, which covers the agreement between PNC Bank and myself that if I allowed them to sell the Merritt Island property, on which the mortgage was held, uh, they would allow me to keep my home and I would make no further claims against the estate. So it would be over and done with. Uh, Again, though, I can't find that, and for the attorney's point of view, it's really critical. It almost seemed yesterday when I talked about becoming the plaintiff in the case. He doesn't feel that I have a case unless I can produce something very substantial. He doesn't see that I have a case. In other words, he's part of the system to evict me from the house that I've lived in for 10 and a half years, and held spiritual meetings here until my daughter moved in November 2 years ago, every week, and sometimes weekend events as well, besides the Wednesday night meeting. So it's really hard for me and challenging as I wade through the reams, literally, of paper work, trying to find the most important one. I mean, I have found things uh, that are valid and have something to say about my home, especially the bankruptcy papers from the Wilhelm's bankruptcy proceedings, where they said my home was not in jeopardy. They were not talking about liquidating my home, that all the things had already been liquidated. So I'm not sure, what to do insofar as still finding this proper paperwork, and even if I do find it, uh, having him use it. Now, it was interesting that as I was sitting in the waiting room of the attorney's office yesterday, I heard a male voice say, uh, I spoke to his daughter, Carrie. That's my daughter's name. Uh, but he was like walking away, and I didn't hear the whole conversation. It was just I heard that. But when I brought it up to him, that was the first thing I brought up to him when I see him. You were talking to my daughter, and he said no. And I went later and asked my daughter, and did you talk to the attorney? And she said no. But I found it really, really strange, and it set off alarm bells, uh, for obvious reasons. I mean, somebody else has a daughter named Carrie that somebody else in that office just happened to be uh, mentioning when I'm sitting in the lobby, in the waiting room. Uh, Curious. But I am in need of much prayer that I'm able to put my hands on the documentation that will verify and substantiate what I've been saying all along. Now, bear in mind, they came to me because they could not sell the Merritt Island property, Dr. Mary's home in Merritt Island. They couldn't sell it because it was in my name. And they asked for limited power of attorney in order to sell the property. And I said, I will agree to that on one condition, that you leave my home here in Melbourne alone. And they agreed to that. Now, does it stand to reason that I would give them blanket power of attorney with nothing, getting nothing back for myself? I mean, that's not even an agreement. That's a surrender. And believe me, I know myself. I would have never surrendered to them. This home was given to me. The proceeds for this home was given to me by Dr. Mary to continue the ministry that she began and to carry it forward, which I faithfully executed up until the time that that my daughter and her family needed a place to stay, and they moved in here. Initially, it was going to be for the rest of that school year, but it ended up being for over 2 years, as I've already said in other videos. But folks, let me tell you, I really do need prayer. I really do need real help. Now, I don't want these. There's a certain individual that keeps going back and looking at the court records and stuff like that. They're invalid. Now, the attorney told me that no, they don't have a mortgage, but they have some kind of a lien. I can't remember, that they filed for some sort of a lien. Now, I do know that after I granted them limited power of attorney, there were things that were going on that I wasn't even in, that they didn't even include me in. I mean, I went to the attorney or the lawyer, the judge's office at one point, and the secretary or the judicial assistant mentioned something to me, and I says, I don't have any records of that. And she gave me the records then and there, but I had never seen them before. And I mean, I did find that document. So in any case, it's really important that I find the exact paperwork with the affidavit that states plainly the agreement in giving them power of attorney so that they could sell the other property. Again, my property was not to be touched. So I'm basically finished with this video, and I again ask for prayers. If you're going to sit there and you're going to criticize, I'm going to end up blocking you, because I don't have any patience for that right now. There's too much at jeopardy, too much at stake, and I'm not going to butt my heads against somebody that's trying to claim courts are legitimate. I mean, they're not legitimate. And I have a plan B with the National Liberty Alliance, and hopefully I will get some support for them and get it moved out of the de facto courts into de jure court, into a de jure common law court. But anyway, that's all I have to say for today, and I do thank you once again for listening, and namaste.